Alien Bridgestone. You got some different clothes. Johnny said the greatest Lakeshore Winter Carnival ever. It's music weekend.
This is News Channel 13, WNYC, Albany. And now, live for the Capital Region, Ed Burns, with Satisfaction. Now, half an hour before, leading all this back to back. This is News Channel 13, live at 11.
Good evening. Local business owners are looking for your help tonight.
They want you to help them work with a woman whom they claim almost turned them out of business. Her first name is Susan, and according to local merchants, she is a cunning con artist who continues to steal money and abuse the system. John Gray joins us now live with a story that's so complicated that really even the police haven't sorted it all out yet.
Can't tell the stories without a program. Like Susan Miller, Susan Cook, Susan Clark. She goes by 3 different names. The merchant station's out for one thing: your money. That's why those merchants are desperately seeking Susan tonight.
If she's not taken off the street, she's going to do it to somebody else.
She is not one of America's most wanted.
I get her red-handed. She's got my money in her car.
But there are a lot of folks who say she ought to be. John Hillman hired her as a bookkeeper last June. Things were fine at first, then...
Come to find out, I was starting to miss some cash receipts, and I started questioning it, and within 4 months' time, I have documented right now up to $6,000 definite figures that she stole.
Hillman had her arrested. So why are they making new keys and changing locks at the Goldstein coffee business 20 miles away? Well, a day after she got out of jail, she came to work here. How much did they say she stole?
It's $10,447.18. She took in a 2-month period. And she's only been making the deposits for 6 weeks. In a 6-week
Police
period.
are investigating.
She's got 3 social security numbers, 3 names.
But she's tough to track.
She has really slammed to the truth. She's a pro.
We tried to find her at the address she gave police, but we were chased off.
She doesn't live here?
And at the second address she gave her employer, no answer.
She came into court
The
on
victims are looking for answers of their own.
Did you guys find out how the legal system operates? How could a person steal $8,000 from him, $10,000 from us, $20,000 from somebody else, scheduled for sentencing, and gets out on $1,500 bail, and the police have to let her go? It's like a big snowball. She's rolling, getting bigger and bigger, and she's getting away with it.
I want to see her go to jail, and I want to protect other small companies like me.
Now, there are a couple of important legal points we need to point out at this point of the story yet. First of all, Susan, whatever her last name is, has only been charged with these past 2 crimes. She has not been convicted of anything yet. And while these merchants would like to see her behind bars, it's a constitutional right to make bond or bail, and that is what she's done. And so the police are not looking for her right now. Maybe keeping their eyes on her, but they're not looking for her because she's out legally.
John, would you repeat for the viewers the story you told me about trying to get her address as you were headed out to find her at the police station?
Yes, well, the merchant gave us one address in West Sand Lake. As I was leaving the police station, I turned back and said, West Sand Lake is where she lives, right? And he said, oh, no, she lives in Troy. So we went to Troy, and we didn't find her there. We went to West Sand Lake, and that's where we found the car she drives, but she wasn't there. So we ran the plate on the car, and that takes us to an address somewhere else in Troy. I'm giving up.
Well, at least her picture's been on television. The next time she appears in court, somebody ought to be wise to what's happening.
Yeah.
Thank you. John Gray reporting live. Christy.
Just when it was thought that the president had settled on another attorney general nominee, she has withdrawn her name. Federal Judge Kimber Wood of New York City says her babysitter had been an illegal alien. Wood said there was nothing illegal about her situation, but she says her nomination would be inappropriate given the current political environment. Steve Handelsman is in Washington tonight.
Well, this was to be the week that President Bill Clinton finally showed us his political prowess, but instead the week ends with this stumble. Judge Kimber Wood is out as Bill Clinton's leading candidate to run the Justice Department, to be Attorney General, and as to exactly why, well, the accounts vary. Judge Wood says, like Zoe Baird before her, he hired an illegal alien. But Judge Wood said it happened in 1986 when such a hiring was not illegal, and she says, unlike Zoe Baird, she paid taxes for her employees. She kept records, and she says she turned the records over to the White House. Here's where the accounts vary. White House spokesman George Stephanopoulos says in 3 separate face-to-face interviews that Judge Wood was asked if she had a Zoe Baird problem. The last question asked by Bill Clinton himself, and she said no each time. Then the White House checked the records. The facts were disclosed. She made an admission. A political judgment was made by the White House, and tonight Judge Wood has stepped aside. The White House says no problem, really, that the system works, that if there is fault, it's Judge Woods' fault. But Bill Clinton tonight is looking again for an attorney general and again having to explain why his young administration appears to have stumbled. And Steve Hamilton, NBC News, at the White House.
Snowfalls tonight have made it a busy night for local police and fire departments. For the latest on road conditions and what's happening, here's Christina DeFranco.
Well, Ed, a number of weather-related accidents tonight. Right now, the most serious appears to be a two-car crash in Clifton Park at the intersection of Route 9 and Sitterley Road. A rescue cruiser at the scene. We're told there are injuries. And earlier tonight, a man was injured after police say he crashed into the back of a snowplow. It happened about 9:30, just outside the Schenectady interchange on I-890. Police say slippery road conditions caused the driver to slide into the plow. We're told his injuries are minor. At 11:05, that's the latest from the Operations Center.
Thanks, Christina. And for more on what to expect with weather this weekend, let's go to Bob Kovacic.
Listen, Ed, what a big change. Let's see, 15 this morning, 47 this afternoon, and now it's 18 and going down. The front came by around 9 o'clock, pushing off to the south. Already 4 above in Plattsburgh, 3 above in Messina. Snow squalls and snow flurries following the frontal passage as it pushed to the south. It had some snow in the North Country, in fact, 5 inches of snow, 4 to 5 inches around Glens Falls and Hudson Falls, 3 inches in Rutland, half an inch at the Albany County Airport, 2 inches in Galway. So gusty winds, blowing and drifting snow tonight, and temperatures down to the single digits, and they'll stay there tomorrow. Wind chill will be well below zero. Full update on the weekend forecast coming along in a few minutes.
Thanks, Bob. At this time, 24 hours ago, 2 North Country men were trapped on a ski lift midway through the coldest night of their lives. They hung 30 feet in the air for 12 hours in sub-freezing temperatures before rescuers found them early this morning. Now tonight, a Delmar man and his son tell Bill Landon it's not the first time there's been trouble on the West Mountain chairlift. Bill?
Chris, a spokeswoman for West Mountain calls it human error. Human error that left those 2 men dangling on a chair while everyone else went home.
Steve Mullen and Tim Brielt hobbled out of Glens Falls Hospital today, lucky to be moving at all. At West Mountain, Thursday afternoon, someone pulled a switch, shutting down the chairlift while the 2 were still on it. They sat there 30 feet in the air in below-zero wind chill for 12 hours, waiting to be discovered and rescued.
Tucked our legs together with each other, prayed, talked, and just prayed and hoped. It was the only thing that was to save our lives.
No elaborate excuse for West Mountain. Procedure was ignored.
We had an operator there, and that operator should not have left them on the lift.
Dan Hurd of Delmar had his own problem with the same West Mountain lift last year when he was 11. He slipped getting on an icy chair and ended up dangling from the side, an estimated 50 feet in the air.
They didn't want to stop it, but well, they noticed, and then they didn't want to stop the chair. They wanted me to hang on the whole way, but I told them to stop it, and...
You didn't think you could hang on for all that way?
No.
West Mountain confirms Dan's fall and similar problems from time to time. Mary Brandt says, like Dan, usually the skier is not hurt. Dan's father believes the lift operator was negligent in not stopping the chair immediately, but since Dan was not seriously injured, there's no lawsuit.
Both incidents raise the question of sufficient training for lift operators. The spokeswoman for West Mountain says the man who trapped the 2 skiers Thursday had a few weeks' experience.
The questions are not only training, Bill, but to me, if their policy, if you're hanging off the end of a chairlift, not to stop it?
Well, that's a good question. I doubt if that's their policy. I think that someone failed to react properly. There was another distraction going on at the same time as Dan was hanging from the side of the chair. So that probably accounts for the slow reaction, although you always have to deal with someone making the correct decision. Obviously, the more experience you have, the more likely you are to make that correct decision.
Absolutely. Well, at least the little boy was lucky and not hurt. Thanks very much. Bill Landon live in our newsroom.
Still to come on News Channel 13 Live at 11, the federal government looks at ways to make the meat we eat safer.
The recipient of an experimental organ transplant loses his fight for life. And an Alzheimer's patient lost in the wilderness is reunited with his family.
News Channel 13 is sponsored in part by Huck Finn's Warehouse, your whole house warehouse. There's no place like it.
Stop! Drop whatever you're doing! President 80th sale in town. It's Hucker's Warehouse, 23
23-hour madness. You have only 23 hours to save like never before on everything for your home. Huck's got unbelievable deals on brand name mattresses, bunk beds, day beds, and futons too. Save like never before on all kinds of rugs, burgers, juries, drapes, orientals, and covering every store. All-time highs, price lows. The maddest sale in town. 23-hour madness. It's madness, madness, madness. Huck's Warehouse, Tivoli Street, off Broadway, Albany, near the RCA Dog.
No computer company tests every computer except Bitwise. No computer company can claim the first portable 486 except Bitwise. No computer company makes a portable dual-page workstation except Bitwise. Bitwise computers, exceptional.
Come to the Bitwise two-day sale, February 5th and 6th. You'll save hundreds of dollars, but you must register to attend. Call 356-9740.
Bitwise computers without compromise.
Good news for senior citizens. We can make you feel better immediately with our 10% discount on prescription medication.
Would you mind showing me some proof of age?
Mine? I'd love it.
Somehow I knew you wouldn't mind.
If you're not a senior citizen, don't worry. You will be.
Goodbye.
Hi, everybody. This is Roger Watt of the Siena Saints return to Knickerbocker Arena for a key late-season conference matchup with Manhattan College Saturday, February 20th. News Channel 13 wants you to be there as Siena's women's team makes their first regular season appearance at Knickerbocker Arena in the second game of this unique doubleheader. Tickets are on sale now at the Arena box office and all Ticketmaster locations, or charge by phone at 476-1000. Don't miss Siena against Manhattan, February 20th at Knickerbocker Arena, sponsored by News Channel 13.
The Federal Agriculture Department is now planning to modernize its meat inspection procedure. The stepped-up effort followed the deaths of 2 children in Washington state from kidney failure stemming from bacterial poisoning. The culprit is E. coli, a bacteria that is hard to detect and harder still to eliminate. Agriculture Secretary Mike Estes says current visual inspections are no longer good enough. He wants his inspectors to encourage more slaughterhouses to wash carcasses with organic acids. And he says radiation, which is already approved for poultry and fruits and vegetables, should be considered for beef.
The second person ever to receive a transplanted baboon liver died tonight in Pittsburgh. Doctors say an infection triggered by loose stitching spread throughout his abdominal cavity. The unidentified 62-year-old man never regained full consciousness after the operation January 10th. He was suffering from hepatitis B and near death when he received the baboon liver, which transplant surgeons say resists the disease. They say a human liver would have been destroyed by hepatitis B. And a reminder tonight that should save your eyesight. Pick up your vision screening test this weekend at any CVS store. The screening can help uncover eye disease at its earliest and most treatable stage. If you have any questions about the test, call the hotline, 1-800-426-6872, from noon until 8 p.m. on weekdays. Health Matters reporter Benita Zahn's special report for Your Eyes Only will continue on Monday.
A man with Alzheimer's disease who was missing for 5 days is back with his family tonight. 71-year-old Harold Morris and his wife were rock hunting in the Utah desert on Sunday when they became separated. Karen Kelly picks up the story.
It was in this Fort Worth parking lot where Harold Morris ended his trek through Utah, Colorado, and south to Texas, accompanied only by his lovebirds. He left behind his traveling companion, his wife of 45 years, Sunday afternoon in Utah. Family members blame the Alzheimer's disease. Employees of a nearby store began to wonder if this was the missing man they'd heard about in news reports after he spent 12 hours parked in the store's lot. Police quickly confirmed it was.
He stated he waited for her for 3 days, and when she did not return, he felt that she had become injured or was harmed in some way, and he went to get help, and in going to get help, he ended up here.
Peggy Morris had been delayed on a nature hike, but only by minutes. After a risky 11-hour walk out of the Utah wilderness to contact authorities, the 63-year-old woman flew to Texas, suspecting her husband might come here seeking their son. Finally, in their home away from home, they were reunited.
He gave up on me, I guess. Too soon.
We're just happy to be back together. Everything's okay.
Accompanied by their daughter-in-law, the Morrises delighted in the reunion. And while Mrs. Morris had worried herself sick over her missing husband, perhaps she had endured the greatest peril. Miles from anywhere, she trudged through mud all night until she almost collapsed.
Well, it snowed. It's raining and snowing all night. And I didn't know, I knew if I didn't just keep walking, I'd freeze. So I kept moving, and I said, I've got to get out of here. I had to get back to here.
The Morrises will rest a few days in Fort Worth before hitting the road again. After all, they say, their vacation's not over.
I like their spirit. You're going to need some spirit this weekend because coming up next, the rest from the Alaskan wilderness, a very cold couple of days.
Bob Kovach is going to tell us how cold and for how long, and it's all right after this.
In the old days, on almost every corner in every neighborhood was a pizzeria that made great-tasting pizza the traditional way. Now, the old days are back. Introducing Neapolitan pizza from Pizza Hut. Made with an old-fashioned tomato sauce, mouth-watering mozzarella, and a deliciously thin crust. So try a large Neapolitan pizza for $6.99. It's a new old-fashioned reason to stop and smell the pizza.
One large $6.99 or two for $10.99.
What's that funny doing? Turn that thing off! Turn that thing off! We're not only moving snow out of 10 going Dodge, we're moving the inventory, like this 1987 Ford Mustang, and this 1989 Dodge Shadow, and how about this 1989 Dodge Colt, and this 1989 Dodge Daytona, all starting as low as this 1987 Chevy Cavalier for $34.95. Call us, the number 235-7700. 10 goes. What a go!
Attention consumers! Economy Furniture is celebrating the grand opening of our new Schenectady showroom with great savings like these. Your choice, either sofa and chair, only $2.99, or our best-selling dinette set, only $2.99. Before you buy furniture at a bankruptcy sale, make sure you're getting the best possible deal. Economy Furniture guarantees to beat any advertised bankruptcy sale price. Shop today at Economy Furniture, 3 Coven Avenue, Albany, and our new location, 1016 State Street, Schenectady. Economy Furniture, guaranteed lowest prices.
Who brings you the most accurate weather forecast?
Bob Kovach. Bob Kovach.
News Channel 13 is so confident of Bob's accuracy, we're willing to put it on the line with AccuCheck. AccuCheck proves he's not just a meteorologist, he's your weather authority.
He's on the money more than the others.
I think Bob Kovach predicted the best.
Tune in, and we'll prove it with AccuCheck. Live, local, late-breaking.
He's a great guy. He knows what he's talking about.
Absolutely.
News Channel 13.
My weather authority.
The year's most riveting movie is now the country's most talked about film, Alive. Critics call it totally gripping and exhilarating. And Rolling Stone rates it's a remarkable true life adventure. Alive, rated R, now playing.
Bob and the weather. Bob, you throw back from the RPI Fieldhouse. By the way, I hope your projections are better than Max. And got a little snow, a little sliding.
Little snow, the RPI Fieldhouse. Lots of fun tonight. Great game. Great game. Boy, RPA hit us.
We won't.
All right, we'll wait for Max to come out. He should be here.
He's going to be sorry he ever mentioned it.
Let's talk about tonight. Big change as expected. And what a change from today. I projected a mild day, 36 to 40. We got to 47 this afternoon. That occurred around 2:30. Down. Frontal passage, 9 o'clock tonight. We're now 18 degrees. Snowing. Blowing snow around, a half an inch of snow at the Albany County Airport. 47 and 15, the high and low for the day. Normal 31 and 11, record high 59, record low of 15 below zero. Wind chill currently 9 below, with a north wind at 16, humidity at 90, and the barometer now going up after the frontal passage from 3002. The front, which was in the North Country from Rutland and north of Glens Falls at 6 o'clock tonight, has moved south, approaching Boston, past Pittsfield, just about on top of Poughkeepsie, Binghamton, pushing onto the south. Still in the 40s in New York, then for a big change later tonight. Snow showers and snow squalls scattered through the area. They've had 4 inches of snow in Glens Falls and Hudson Falls, and about 2 inches over around Galway, 1 to 2 inches in Johnstown and Gloversville. Any additional snow will be basically an inch or less overnight tonight as the front pushes onto the south, and we'll center in on the very cold air mass here through the weekend. Arctic Express coming in as the storm pulls away and deepens and drives the very cold air in. They've had up to 6 inches of snow in the mountains of central and northern Vermont. Record highs today from Williamsport to Detroit down into Lexington, but that cold air will sink all the way into the Carolinas during the early part of the weekend. It looks like a fairly brief shot. 2 days of really cold weather, then moderating by Sunday night and Monday. In fact, I think we're going to find that late Saturday night, early Sunday, we'll see some places in the Adirondacks to 35 or 40 below zero. And I want to make a correction from 6 o'clock tonight. I mentioned our lowest temperature ever at the Albany County Airport was minus 27. I was wrong. Paul Greaves from the Weather Service called up minus 28 on January 19th, 1971. Hey, AccuCheck, Max. AccuCheck. Gotta be precise. All right, tomorrow then we'll have some snow squalls early with a real cold wind. Temperatures will be in the single digits. Wind chill, though, will be well below zero. I will be back in just a moment.
Since Mayor Cuomo became governor 10 years ago, state spending has more than doubled. Taxes have increased by billions, yet somehow New York has always been debt. I'm Pat Barrett. When I ran one of America's top corporations, one thing really counted, the bottom line. You can't spend money you don't have. It's just common sense. Governor Cuomo just doesn't get it. If you agree with me, call 1-800-782-4PAT now. This year's budget, we can do better.
The rest of the night, windy and much, much colder. Some snow and blowing snow, additional accumulations of an inch or less. But again, that snow icing over on the ground to roadways slippery, low 5 to 10 above zero. Temperatures will not change much tomorrow, staying 5 to 10 above. Winds will make it feel like minus 30. Early flurries and sunny, windy, a bitter cold Saturday. Then Saturday night, Capital District, immediate Capital District will be 10 to 15 below. Many communities in the North Country, the mountains, 15 to 30 below, but at least the wind will die down tomorrow night. Sunday, probably a little bit better, less wind, lots of sun on Sunday with a high between 10 and 14. Temperatures will warm up next week. We may get a little snow late Tuesday or Wednesday. That's it. And have a good weekend and stay warm.
Okay. Thanks, Bob.
You know Smack's reaction when Bob mentioned AccuCheck?
At 6 o'clock, Mac was ready to spot Ed.
Four goals. I was going to take RPI straight up, but he was offering me 4 goals. Well, the RPI engineers shouldn't bother to show up tonight, and next year they took on one of the best college goalies in the country. It was clearly hopeless.
Mac is next with highlights, or what he might call lowlights from the field house. And then later we'll serve up some hot chicken wings, Texas style.
This Saturday and Sunday only at the Albany Holiday Inn, state auction liquidators will dispose of bankruptcy, foreclosure, and abandoned goods, including fine contemporary and antique furniture, handmade Persian rugs, crystal, estate jewelry, porcelain, oil paintings, bronzes, jade, and more. This Saturday and Sunday, auction starts at 1 p.m., viewing 1 hour before auction at the Albany Holiday Inn, 205 Wolf Road. Take Highway 87 to exit 4.
Standard Furniture is an all-out pandemonium this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only. Because of bankruptcy, the heat is on to raise immediate cash. Take it out this weekend and get our absolute lowest prices. Swivel rockers from $127. SRS. 3-piece living room starting at $497. Panic 5-piece bedroom starting at $488. Sold! Bankruptcy prices are the lowest prices. We will not be undersold. We'll be doing the underselling. It's crunch time. Follow the skylights this weekend only to Furniture Pandemonium. We need your business now.
Everybody's got value menus. What's better about Winnie's 99-cent super value menu? Better food. Right, quality. How about the chili? Right, Winnie's rich and meaty chili. And you, sir?
Lots of choices.
Variety and?
A junior bacon cheeseburger.
Chili. Right, that's chili. How about those salads?
Well, really fresh.
Oh.
Like a Caesar salad.
And only 99 cents each. And you, sir?
Really great fries.
Ah, yes, biggie fries.
Someone say chili?
I believe so. Do I know you?
With Wendy's 99-cent super value menu, you don't pay more. You just get more every day.
I'm feeling empty. I'm feeling blue. I know it's over. And I know I'm through.
Man, now that's the blues.
Next time you want to dye a Pepsi ring, all you got to do is ask.
Now that's the right one, baby.
A
photograph can capture nature in all its glory, or the essence of a special moment. This spring, News Channel 13 will collect photos for an exciting new project. It's called Close-Up on the Capital Region and features the people and places of our area. Your pictures may be included, so stock up on film and watch for more information on News Channel 13.
Close-Up on the Capital Region is sponsored in part by Armory Automotive Family and Price Chopper Supermarket.
So Max blew it, okay? He admits it. Made a bad call.
He's happy about it.
But he's thrilled to death for the engineer.
I don't know how many closers has from RPI kids tonight. And I loved every one of them. I think I've got a great headline for the Harvard Crimson.
Yeah.
Our Harvard's got this great goal, Chip Tracy.
Right.
How about the Crimson next week in the paper? RPI, Chip Tracy.
It'll do.
It'll do? 6 unanswered goals?
Mac, too.
Hey, listen, if I was going to be wrong, well, let this one be the one. Wow, that was just great. RPI facing a Titan Harvard, the number 2 ranked team in the United States with the number 1 goalie in the country in Tracy. A team that had won 10 in a row. What happened is that RPI spotted Harvard a 3-goal lead. 3-goal lead. See, one of those goals right here. And then they came storming back to score 6 unanswered goals to win it 6-3. Whoa, what a comeback. You're seeing a lot of Neil Little in this action, and you should. He was just outstanding tonight in goal. Without a question, this will go down, without a doubt, as one of RPI's greatest victories ever. The final 6-3 gave you with a couple of goals tonight, both of them on the power play. Meantime, Brown had to come from behind to beat Union. 6 straight loss to the Dutchman. But they didn't look bad tonight, I'll tell you. In the NBA, the Knicks came from behind in the final couple of minutes to beat Miami's Heat. And I mean Heat. They played them tough. But New York had a great game from Anthony Mason here. He had 21 points and 14 rebounds. And get a load of this. Doc Rivers pokes it away over to Blackman, who hits Rivers with a nice bounce pass. This is pretty. The final, New York 108, Miami 105. Ewing plays tonight, if you're wondering, at 26. Boston 12 over Philadelphia tonight. Charlotte 7 over Milwaukee. Cleveland will win a big time over Detroit. Washington 24 over Golden. And Minnesota just in 7 over Houston. Heavyweight champion Riddick Bowe holding his a lopsided pick to beat the aging Michael Dokes in his first title defense tomorrow at MSG.
Well, I anticipate Michael Dokes is going to come out and try to overwhelm me in the first 2 or 3 rounds. But I think come 5 and 7 he'll be shot. And then I'll put 2 or 3 punches together and take them out.
In school basketball tonight, Waterville won its 17th in a row and its 8th straight Colonial Council title under the dangerous George Mardigan, beating Waterford 66-58. Waterville led tonight by 21. Number 21 there, I should say, Jason Davis. Davis had 18 points and 21 rebounds. Count them. Don Fuccio had a pretty nice game himself. He had 20 points. Meantime tonight, Amsterdam was all over Bishop McGinn's Jason Vogel. Cloaked them. They held them to a season-low 9 points. A terrific game plan, but in the end, McGinn managed to hang on to win it 51-49. Caluccio and Burns combined for 20. Todd Setner had 12 in defeat. In other action, Troy over LaSalle, Brendan O'Brien 22. 11 straight wins now for Troy. CBA got 26 from Mr. Thorpe and knocked down Bishop Gibbons. Devanir Dees had that triple-double, and Albany High beats Catholic High. Colony over Columbia, and pretty easily. Camarchi and Girard combined for 40 of the 48. Saratoga over Niskiuna. Jason Pelovich, 24 points. Scotia got walloped tonight by Shenendehoa. Mahonison came from 16 down over Shaker. Came from 16 down to beat Shaker, I should say. Shalmont 6 over Lansingburg. Hudson Falls over South High. Andrew Cronin, a freshman, had 23 points, 11 assists, and 6 steals. Voorheesville in overtime over Ravina. Rensselaer gets 28 from Mr. Mallory, beats Kitsaki. Mark Eglin had 31 for Broad Albany in a win over Galway and defeats Jason Mathis. Matthias, I should say, the area's leading scorer, 37. They don't stop him. Spa Catholic 8 over Glens Falls, and I am right out of time.
You were a good sportsman.